Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Wine from On the Vine to the Road Tasted. I'm Brian, and sitting next to me is
Jasmine. Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, the smart one of the show is what she is.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. This is episode 20. We're pretty excited about this. We didn't think we'd get past episode number 15. Or 10, or 2,
Well,
actually.
It's an accomplishment when you look back and see what you've done so far.
Yeah.
See something flourish.
Yeah, it was just a little idea, something that we do for fun.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
we're still
doing
getting
it.
at it. But
Yeah.
it's coming along.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. This episode, we're talking about a certified organic wine. It's along one of the same wines. I think we talked about it earlier, probably like episode 2 or 3. We talked about it.
We kind of highlighted it.
Extended
it off from.
It was one of our wines of the week.
Yeah, from Double Black.
Yeah, Double Black.
This is like an extension.
Yeah. So we have that. In this episode also, we're going to talk about one of the specific soil varieties of Paso Robles. We're going to talk about also, we're going to talk about the owners of this specific wine or winery that we're going to be talking about, or the winery that the wine comes from. We'll be talking about them a little bit. And then we're going to talk about also the wine makers who help the winery that we're going to be talking about this week, or this episode. And what things do you have that we're going to be talking about this on this episode?
I'm going to also be talking about the AVA Paso Robles, also Cobble Creek Vineyards, and the other estate vineyards that they own.
Mm-hmm.
It's owned by Castaro Cellars.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be talking about all the vineyards within that winery. I'm also going to be highlighting the different aromatics and tastings of this particular wine. I'm going to be talking about the varietals, also a little bit about the whole biodynamic, sustainably farmed practice behind this company. It's pretty huge. It's a pretty big deal with this company. They're like big. The top, so I'm going to be going over stuff like that and how they're recognized in Paso Robles for being like the highest level of their farming practices in Paso. Yeah. There's awards and things that they've gotten. So
this is a very vegan friendly wine. And then also their website also said that they're the only 100%. Is that right? 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into talking about that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh wait, what movies have we watched lately that are fun?
We just watched that Coming to America, the new one. I that
was so fun.
I loved it. I really did. It was so nostalgic. Yeah. It was so nostalgic.
When you told me that they had the second one, I vaguely remember they made a second one, but I never saw it. And I loved the first one so much, I knew that it had to be good.
Yeah. It was done by Eddie Murphy. He did a good job.
Well, it was all original characters from
all
the
original
first
characters,
one. Like the parents. I mean, the only new people were the kids because they weren't in the first movie, obviously. Yeah, seeing the Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, and
it was fun to see that, and them doing their characters. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
What I like about it is that these actors and actresses can go back and pick up like a role they had so many years ago, and it's like it obviously that particular movie, that creation, that art that they performed meant something to them, so they can pick up where they left off, and it's like they did it yesterday. And that's like putting your all into what you love to do. That's why they're actors and actresses. Eddie Murphy is one of those people, and he delivers his role in a way that helps the rest of the people kind of pick up on that. Like he's a good example, like on what kind of like energy and when they're showing the bloopers afterward, you saw how they were so comfortable with each other and they're just having fun. Yeah. And because they're having fun and enjoying it, it's like they made a successful second movie. And one of the lines in there was when the hairdresser was talking to the prince,
Mm-hmm.
and when she say something about
She said, "Well, like sequels don't need to be made, and
yeah,
it's like,
like
some of them
if,
are really
if something's
dumb.
really good,
Yeah,
don't
yeah. Don't try to remake it, or
yeah.
don't try to make it better." And so he kind of added that in there as like a joke.
Yeah,
You
and it
know.
was the sequel was really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was family friendly. The other one was rated R. This one was rated PG-13. I'm kind of glad that they did that. He made it
Yeah.
for everybody. You know, but he was able to include that same little, I don't want to say raunchiness, but there were some scenes in there where, you know, they kept it cleaner than the last
Yeah,
one, but it still had that
Yeah.
that hip little
Yeah.
vibe in there, and I really,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun to watch. It
Yeah.
was.
Well, that's the same time period. Like they made Boomerang when they did the first one.
Oh
right?
yeah, they made a
or maybe he
Boomerang.
did that a little bit later.
No,
but,
and a bow finger was made.
Yeah.
That was a bad one.
well, that's what I mean.
With
Like that
Steve
time
Martin
period
and-
was like, oh,
Yeah, they were making a bunch of
more.
in Harlem Nights. Yeah,
This
it
one was more toned down and
yeah,
more, you can say, reserved
yeah,
with those things. Yeah.
yeah. So it was a good. I mean, don't expect, you know, the first one out of it. Expect a new movie.
But, yeah.
Leslie Jones was a she added her own little part to the movie that I thought it was kind of funny, and you know, and
Oh, the one from Saturday Night
yeah,
Live.
Saturday Night Live, yeah.
She was-
just pretty,
Yeah, she was
she had
funny.
some parts.
She's a
I'm sure in the interview she's like, "You want me to do what?" But she did it.
her part stands out.
Yeah, her part stands out. She did really good.
Yeah.
And I like seeing Tracy Morgan. You know, I know he was he came back from a huge downfall. I think he got in an accident or something like that. He had brain damage. So
He did pretty well.
yeah, he did really well.
Tell.
Yeah,
And then Arsenio Hall, just seeing Arsenio Hall with Eddie Murphy is just, 'cause-
it's a classic.
yeah.
And I feel bad for people who weren't around in the 80s. I think the last one was made in 88 or 89. It's, you know, I wish people were, you know, a lot of the younger generations, I wish they were around during that. Because it was just one of those good movies.
Yeah, I don't know when I watched it, but I was just a kid when it
Yeah.
came out. I think I watched it way later after it came out.
It was
so
a
I wasn't
USA
allowed.
edition. It was one
Yeah.
in USA.
I was an older.
Because there's a lot of nudity in it.
Yeah, because when it came out, I wouldn't have been allowed to watch it. I
No,
was
your
too
dad
little.
wouldn't let you do that.
No,
I mean, your dad sees a little sex scene, you know, and
Oh.
he's like, "Oh, why did it have to do that?
So
Why did
conservative,
it have to do that?"
so traditionally. Yes.
Yeah.
My dad's very proper.
But if you have a chance to watch it, it's on Amazon Prime. You know, they're not an affiliate. They're not
Yeah.
give us any money to talk about it. But
it's fun.
it was a
good
fun
movie.
little movie. Yeah. And oh well. So yeah, this week's what's a segue on this? I can't think of one. So we're just gonna move right into
Time for the wine.
yeah, the wine.
Transitioning to
Yeah. So this is a Cobble Creek.
it's
Yeah.
Cobble Creek Vineyard.
Yeah, Cobble
By
Creek
Castaro
Vineyard by Castaro
Winery.
Wines, and it is, it is certified organic. And before we start, we did pair this with a pot sticker.
Yeah, do you want me to talk about the notes and stuff?
Oh, sure,
That
yeah.
way I can.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the notes on this red blend were very high in oak notes. So that you had a lot of oak, vanilla, baking spices. When you taste the spices, you can. Well, there's a difference between American oak and French oak. I strongly taste American oak influence in the barrel fermentation. They don't state that when they're talking about their wine in this red blend, but with the notes that you get, there's like those attributes of vanilla and caramel tones, and those are usually significant to American oak. And then you get notes of black cherry, dark fruit, black fruit, but predominantly you're tasting black fruit and then throughout the taste. Then comes cherry, so you're tasting like a red cherry and raspberry, but it's like at the heading towards the end of the taste.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pick up a little bit of licorice, anise, and you get into like a savory kind of peppery note. And I remember tasting like a little bit of a smoke, kind of earthy, leathery towards the finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then a slight yeastiness. You get a little bit of a cream note on the palate towards the end. So it's almost like a buttery. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a red varietal, you're still getting some those notes or tastes from yeast. Mm-hmm. And to me, this wine paired really well with what we chose for it. We cooked pork pot stickers with that sweet jasmine rice. You're getting a little bit of sweet, a little bit of floral, a little bit of sticky tone. So the texture of those foods went well with the texture of the wine.
Yeah, the pork isn't a recommended a connection to this wine. They recommended other meats, but
like
we
beef,
did choose
lamb, and I can't remember the other one's beef, lamb. It was a little bit more heavier meat, but I felt the texture of the pork pot sticker because you're getting the layers building on your palate with the pot sticker itself, not just the meat, but you're getting the layer of the wrapping. So you're getting that kind of sticky, kind of meaty,
a little bit of starch,
kind of starchy blend that made it heavier. So I can see why they're saying, to pair it with beef and lamb, because it is more on the oaky side. You taste and smell a lot of the oak, so it's heavy on the oak. Mm-hmm. It's more drier than sweet on the dry to sweet scale. Mm-hmm. And the oak, because it's heavily oaked, it's more medium to high on the tannic level. So if you're looking like at a scale and you're like low to tannic, you're more towards the tannic side. And then if you're looking at the dry to sweet, you're heading towards more of the dry. So it's, those pick up first before the fruits. So that's why they're saying pick something more oily or more fatty, because you want to balance out that on your palate. If you just drink it on its own, this wine is fruit at first on the palate, but then it ends kind of bitter. Mm-hmm. So you need those fats and those oils to register that on your palate to just balance everything out.
Yeah. So, and for you, the people who tend to stick with the more vegetables than they do with the meats, you can do this also with a shiitake, a mushroom, a pot sticker. You'll get pretty much the same flavoring as you would with the pork.
And being organic and vegan, you could also do like I was thinking a portobello mushroom burger.
Oh, that.
Because my mom and I have made those like a few times in the past 2 years, and her and I like make this really awesome portobello mushroom burger, and it would pair really well with this wine. We haven't tried that yet, but maybe next time we'll drink it. Sure.
Yeah, this was I thought it was what was the price point on this one?
The average price
under
is
$15.
$12.50 is the average price. It is above average in its rating. It's rated at a 3.5, but that's just one rating by one company. But it's above average. And the aromatics of this organically grown wine were impeccable or pristine, meaning that when you're smelling the aromatics, they were undisturbed. They come at you like raw. Not raw like underdeveloped, but like you smell the individual notes they're giving you. So that's what came to my mind, like clean and bright. Because it's the flavors are intact; they don't get mixed up and jumbled as you taste them. It's like very intact.
Yeah. No, it was. I remember having this. We had this, I think, like last summer.
Yeah. Well, I've had it a few times. I mean, a lot of these wines that we've talked about on our podcast, I've had them several times. Because working in the wine industry, I've had them over and over again. But sometimes, it's not sometimes, but every time you try a wine and you do something different with it, it highlights different things. So it's very, it's very like in your mind it stands out significantly with certain things, and other things it's kind of more vague or simplistic. But this particular wine was pretty powerful and impressive for being only $12.50.
Yeah, that's inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. That's
It
I
brings
try
a
to
lot
find,
to the palate for the price.
Yeah, I try to find stuff that's, I mean, there's some wines that we get that are $50, but there's others that we get, that are, I hate to say it, are staple wines.
Well, there are go-to wines.
Yeah.
Everybody has go-to wines.
Yeah.
It just depends what each individual picks.
Mm.
The ABV on this was 13.92, so that's pretty good. We like those higher, rich kind of ABVs.
Yeah.
Because they just, we like them. I think our average ABV we like is like above 14. Some people like them lower, but they're picking wines lower for certain reasons. They come to me and ask me for low alcohol by volume wines because they can't drink them for some reason, or they cause some sort of reaction, or it just depends on the person.
Yeah, well, and usually just because of the chemical of the construction of the wine, usually the lower the ABV, sometimes lower the sugar.
Mm-hmm. That's why.
They have a combination, and then less of a headache the next morning for some people.
That's true.
Yeah, so but I don't know.
That's probably one of the main things they come in and ask for lower ones, because they get the sugar levels give them a headache.
Yeah. So this is a Cobble Creek.
And this is the wine's labeled Cobble Creek Vineyard. Yeah. Because that's the vineyard that it's grown on. When you're going to talk about the significance of that, right? Or the owners.
Yeah, so the Cobble Creek Vineyard is actually the vineyard where they live on. So it's a total of 23 acres. And not only do they live on this acreage, in the 23 acres, but their tasting rooms are also in this vineyard. So they didn't want the chemicals, they didn't want all the chemical runoff and everything, close to their home or close to their living quarters. So they started with this vineyard being certified organic, and now I'm almost positive all of their vineyards are either certified organic or they're striving toward this certified organic.
They're all organic, sustainably farmed.
Yeah. So on their website, they did say they're the only 100% certified sustainable vineyards and winery in Paso Robles. Mm-hmm. So it says they're the only 100% certified sustainable. So it's a huge leap for winemakers to be able to put that standards on there and
because it's like it's a whole impact of what they're doing on a business scale and on a personal scale, because they're making sure that what they do doesn't affect the entire terroir around them. Mm-hmm. So it's a responsibility that they have achieved, and it's been recognized. So the Udson family in 2020 got an environmental award for the highest environmental standards in Paso Robles. So it brought out how Castara Winery has been at the forefront of sustainable farming and winemaking in Paso Robles for nearly 30 years. Mm-hmm. So the wineries around them that are within that AVA are they're grateful, and they have gratitude towards their winery because they set the standard, they set the mark, and what they do is only good towards everybody else that is doing the same thing there. So what they're doing, it doesn't impact anything negatively. So they've been recognized for having the highest achieve standards in this sustainably farm practice.
Yeah. Well,
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is good. It's excellent, and the further we go along in our path to everyone reducing their footprint,
Their carbon footprint.
yeah, the carbon footprint. They're I don't say there's someone to look after. There's someone to look at. Someone who worked really hard to achieve this status. And I'm sure they're very proud of it. And they've been working on this since I don't know, I think their first one was 1981 or 83. Yeah, so they've been
Since
trying to
1983, they've been recognized as 100% certified sustainably farm vineyard. And their quality of their fruit, because of this, allowed them to create or to grow this the highest quality grape varietals out there. If you look at the pictures on their website of their fruit, it's beautiful. The way they laid out, the Castaro Winery laid out grape varietals according to what they would get by the exact locations of where they put their grapes and where they planted them. So it's strategic. It's thought out. It's like it's almost like you can say like a math equation, but in an environmental way, because they're making sure wherever they made their plots and they grew their vineyards, they were going to get the most out of each varietal. So the different aspects of the terroir, whether they're on a hillside east or west, or the like the longer growing seasons they have. Some areas have more of that. Well, actually, most of the areas have the daytime temperatures longer than the night. So they're going by all those different things and planting accordingly. And it all adds to the fact of how they've utilized their knowledge and farming practices and all how those each affect what they produce as well.
Well, they picked a really good. Paso Robles is an excellent spot to apply these practices.
Well, because of the diverse soils, it's a unique location, and it follows Napa Valley's first, then Sonoma, then Monterey, and Paso Robles AVA comes right after. So those are the three top ranking AVAs in California, and Paso Robles comes in fourth.
Yeah.
But they're growing. It's the fastest growing wine territory. So they're coming up and probably going to be surpassing soon. So we'll see.
Will that be as big as Napa? That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking about soil variations, Paso Robles has 30 different soil variations. But the one that caught my eye in here, first, I'm sorry, I'm going to back up. The majority of the pH throughout Paso Robles is 7.4 to 8.6. And if you look at the pH scale, the two elements or the two nutrients that are lacking is iron and manganese. And iron is a catalyst of manganese. It's a break off. Manganese is a break off of iron. So inside of iron is manganese. So they're kind of like a catalyst of each other. This is the greening effect. So how they do that, how they get their vines to green, sometimes vines will use nitrogen in place of, because nitrogen and sometimes a potassium or phosphorus is another greening element on the leaves, but the greener the leaf, the more sugar it produces and the most...
Because of the photosynthesis showing in the green, the more sugars develop within the grape.
Yeah, so it stores sugar in the form of a chloroplast, and it'll so it's amazing that they could apply an iron without using a chemical. So they're either leaving the leaves on the ground to use as iron, which is what a lot of corn farmers will do. They'll leave the leaves on the ground so that it'll create iron for the future generations of corn, or they got something else that they're using. I'm not sure. I wish I could talk to them. I haven't had a chance to talk to
Well,
them.
when we visit their winery, you can definitely ask them.
Yeah.
Being an arborist and things, you understand all the different elements of that.
So when I was looking at the 30 different soil variations, one of these soil variations included the marine sedimentary rocks from the Miocene Age Monterey Formation. And this is really neat. This is a formation, and it's a marine formation formed between 5 and 17 million years ago. And a lot of this organic rock sedimentary rock is organically rich. So it has fossils embedded in the rock from a marine life.
From the ocean.
From 5 to 17 million years ago. And so this is all done from tectonic pressure and from forming of specific areas in the valley, which is the Monterey Valley. But it's this formation, this specific rock, this Miocene age, is a huge feeder of nutrients in the proper soils that is needed for the grapes or the vines to get the proper nutrients again that it needs. I'm saying nutrients a lot, but this is in limestone.
Well, the vitamins, the food that it needs to thrive.
Yeah, so I found that very interesting that they picked that out. But again, there are 30 different varieties, soil variations, and it just so happens that the Castoro wineries are on top of this. You know, they knew what they were buying when they went there.
Well, whoever helped them pick out their land, they probably knew what they were looking at once they studied the soil.
Yeah, it was probably Niles' father.
Yeah.
I'm saying Niles, Niels. I'm hoping it's Niles. It looks like it's Niles. It's not. It's Niels. Yeah, yeah. But it shows that him and his father taught him a lot of business practices, and he started college very early. Niles did. So I think that he knew in advance what he was getting when he bought that land. That's what I think.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I'm sure they studied it and made sure that it was going to be what they were looking for. And someone knew what they were doing when they picked the soil out.
Yeah.
Or the location.
Yeah, and they call this a young soil. 5 to 17 million years ago was a very young soil. And there's a lot of older soil that is in this area, that is in the California area. But this is one of the newest soils. So it's called the Miocene Age Monterey Formation. If you have a chance to look it up, it's very interesting. Some of the stuff I didn't understand as far as knowing that there's organic material inside of rock and how organic material breaks down into certain nutrients to feed our plants, even to make oil for, the gasoline that we put in our cars that I probably shouldn't talk about because that's totally going against this organic thing we're talking about.
Well, yeah, they don't particularly practice that, but
no, they don't.
That's what it's used for.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. And how this place was chosen. And also it gets a little bit higher rainfall than other areas in California because of variation in elevation and the mountains that surround the Paso Robles area. Helps both contain clouds and allow clouds to move on after a certain amount of rain has exited. It's a perfect area that they chose. You got anything else? Sorry, we're talking about soil, but
yeah. To just add to that part, because I have some information on the terroir too. The Paso Robles AVA lies within the northern part of San Luis Obispo County, and this location is central between San Francisco and Los Angeles along California's central coast. And the AVA encompasses more than 40,000 vineyards. Or acres, more than 40,000 vineyard acres, and there's more than 200 wineries within the Paso Robles AVA.
It's a lot.
This area is generally characterized by the rolling hills east of the Salinas River and steeper hillsides cut through the small canyons of the east side of the Salinas River. So that creates, I touched on it earlier, a greater daytime temperature. So the days are very long. The night's temperatures are shorter. So they don't have as, they have more warmth during the day. So that creates more of a, not such a chill at night.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is this area makes for high, like you were talking about, that high producing sugars in the fruit. And the district is what you would call a mesoclimate. Mesoclimate is an intermediate, it refers to an intermediate geographic scale, which indicates the mesoclimate is formed, you touched on it a little bit ago, by the physical characteristics of the local area. So some examples would be the features such as the hills, the vegetation cover, the way the land is used, what bodies of water, the air movement, and you talked about cloud cover. So that's all within this. That's what a mesoclimate is. It's been influenced by those characteristics or those environmental things. And this creates, again, very diverse soils, which are the highlight of Paso Robles, with a longer growing season, which makes this unique to the region with optimal growing conditions. So with those optimal growing conditions, they produce premium and ultra premium wines. So there are more than 60 wine grape varietals because of this that are ranged from Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah, Viognier, Roussanne, and the area's heritage main grape varietal is Zinfandel. So that's the heritage grape. The topography of Paso Robles is the features of this area that are the highlight of it are the ranges of the Santa Lucia Range and the Salinas River Valley and the Templeton Gap. And we've had some wines from Templeton Gap by Austin Hope. One of our favorite ones is the Syrah Mourvedre blend, and it has that blue wax top.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that wine's gorgeous, and that's from the Templeton Gap of Paso Robles. Very rich, very oily, very fatty. The wine is beautiful. So
Austin Hope was a girl.
yeah, he started making wines in 1976. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, but he has that particular Rhone blends he creates are from the Templeton Gap of Paso Robles. And they make some stunning wines that from the soil there. Some of the vineyard facts I wanted to go over of Cobble Creek Vineyard. We did talk about they were the first certified organic vineyard. The years planted from this vineyard, the vineyard facts are, so they planted first in 1976. So I don't know if we've covered that. You said in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
1994 and 2014. And the planted acreage is 23. And then the top varietals that they grow are Merlot, Primitivo, and Zinfandel. Zinfandel and Primitivo are head pruned in the traditional method that allows for smaller yields. And this in turn, because of the amount of sun exposure, allows the grapes to mature in a fashion where they get more density and more powerful flavor because of that.
To stick on the Zinfandel, I just want to say that is my favorite, a double black. So out of all the double blacks, the Zen is my favorite.
Yeah, because they came out with the Zinfandel first, double black,
a Cabernet,
and then the Cab, and then they have the blend.
Yeah,
and the Zinfandel was
the Zinfandel.
Oh, they have a Merlot too.
Yeah, but the Zinfandel by far I feel is the best. I feel it's the best out of all there.
It's a top seller for them out of those four.
And that's like an $11 wine or a $12 wine.
It's like $13.
Yeah, it's
But the smoky tones, like the that you get out of Cobble Creek Blend, the one we're talking about, is you get that out of the double black too. So it's a very complex wine, again, for being such a low costing. Yeah. But as we've talked about here today, the Castaro wineries have the finest, highest quality grapes because of their practices. Yeah. And it produces the best fruit. So that's why you're getting such a delicious tasting wine.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So carry on.
I was just going to bring out one more thing, that what motivated Niles and Bimmer to, because you said that they lived on this vineyard. Mm-hmm. So what motivated them or drove them into the biodynamic sustainably farm practice was the fact that they're going to be living there. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be living and surrounded by chemicals and pesticides and things that they were going to be surrounded by. They didn't want synthetic chemicals, where they were going to be living. Yeah. So because of that, that's what promoted them or got them to start experimenting with organic practices, and that's what started the whole thing. So
yeah, I have some history on Niles and Bimmers if you
go into that, because then I'm just going to talk about something else briefly after that.
All right. So Niles' original family is from Denmark. His father immigrated from Denmark in the 1940s. And then they had a house in Ventura where Niles' father would teach him the practices of both agriculture and business. But they would fly from Ventura back to Denmark occasionally. On one of their visits, when Niles was 8, he met a Bimmers at she was 6. No, so they met at ages 8 and 6. Yeah, it's cute.
8 and 6 years.
Yeah. So that's so I thought that Jasmine's appearance was really cute because they were high school sweethearts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, we have a whole new level to add to that. Yeah. 8 and 6.
Yeah.
That's crazy there.
I know. It's cute when you have stories like that. It's not every day.
One's playing with Barbies and one's eating worms out of the ground.
Eating worms and pilgrim bugs, roly-polies. I had a friend who would eat those.
Oh, the roly-polies?
He was about that age when we would be outside playing in the garden, and he would just start picking those up and eating them. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, they taste so good. I'm like, what? Yes, Grandma, I'm like, are you aware that your grandson is eating, these bugs out of your garden?
They're full of protein.
He obviously had a deficiency.
Yeah, a deficiency.
His name was Jared. I'll never forget that.
A brain deficiency, maybe. Yeah. But my brother had a friend named CJ, and has a friend. He's still around. Mm-hmm. But I remember one time we were eating sunflower seeds. I'm like, oh, this sunflower seed tastes horrible. He's like, yeah, it tastes like a roly-poly. I'm like, how would you know? He's like, well, I ate one. I'm like, oh my God.
I guess it's a common thing amongst little boys.
It is, little boys. I never ate bugs.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I ate dog food,
I had a friend who ate dog food. He was also a boy.
It was dry though. It wasn't wet.
He would come over to our house and we had big dogs. We had this huge dog bag in our kitchen, and I caught him in there eating it.
Eating dog food.
I'm like, what are you doing? Eating the dog food? He's like,
protein deficient.
I'm like, we have real food for people if you're hungry. He wanted to eat puppy chow or whatever it was. I don't even know. It was the dry food. Something was wrong with him.
Now, my sister would feed the cats, and every once in a while, she'd take the spoon, and it would be wet food, and she would take a spoon and scoop it out of the can, and then she'd lick the spoon.
Why?
out of
like a habit.
Yeah, it was a habit.
Like if you get tuna,
and then she'd be like, "Ew!" like that, and we just laugh at her.
Oh my God.
I still make fun of her. She's like, "I only did it 2 or 3 times." Mm-hmm. I'm like, the fact you did it more than once is funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, sorry.
We went on a tangent
there. That's funny.
Kids eat dog food
and
cat food. I never did.
And roly-polies.
Yeah.
So back to Niles and Bimmers. So Niles worked at the Estrella River Winery under a gentleman named Tom Meyers, who we'll go into a little bit later, who is now his winemaker.
In Estrella.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stars.
Yeah. And then in 1983, they launched their own brand, which is Costella. A Costella.
Castello.
A Castello.
Castello, yeah.
Castello Winery. I've been drinking White Russians, so welcome to my world. In showcasing their humor, Neil's longtime nickname from Italian, translated from Italian, was Beaver. So, hence the name Damn Fine Wine.
That's their logo.
That's their
Damn Fine
logo,
Wine.
yeah. So, Damn is spelled with D-A-M, not D-A-M-N. So, Damn Fine Wine. I thought that was really cute.
If you look, it's on their website if you look it up.
Yeah. So, but they purchased this property, I think, in the 70s, in 1973 or 1974.
74, I believe.
Yeah, I think you have.
Because they planted their first vineyard in 76.
In 76.
It takes at least 2 years before you can produce.
Yeah, produce any type of wine or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, the fruit doesn't grow till. I mean, it doesn't come to until then.
Yeah. So yeah, so they've been creating wine since 1978. Yeah, their first harvest. But so in 1983 they launched their own brand, and so yeah, the Damn Fine Wine. So he has two winemakers. The first one is Tom Meyers, which he met at Estrella River Winery, and this is pretty impressive. Tom. It has a bachelor's and master's in the biological science and botany from Michigan State. And he's also got another master's from UC Davis in California for food science and enology. So he is his primary winemaker. He's been creating wine in Paso Robles since 1978.
Wow.
So he's been around. So this is they always say, surround yourself with people smarter than you. So this is something that I think that Niels and Bimmers did.
They're smart.
Yeah. And then another one that's just as impressive is they have another winemaker named Jamie, and Jamie has a bachelor's from Cal Poly. And she visited a wine program in Adelaide, Australia, and she also worked for Whitehaven Wines, where she harvested in New Zealand. And Whitehaven Wines is a huge winery.
It is.
That's what you told me.
Oh yeah, the Sauvignon Blanc is one of the most popular wineries. Like when people come in, they ask for the top Sauvignon Blancs are Whitehaven, Cloudy Bay. Oyster Bay, Kim Crawford, and Whitehaven's, one of the top. So that's a pretty big deal.
So I just found that very impressive that they found these two excellent winemakers, and a majority of their products are very accessible to almost anybody. Their prices are very low. And
not outrageous.
And if you go to Whole Foods or you go to Trader Joe's or whatever, anything that's organic is usually really expensive. So the fact they can give us an organic wine at really good prices is a godsend, and it's a blessing. And we really appreciate the fact we get to enjoy these wines at such a low cost, and when you look at the wine when you're drinking it. Who's the lady? Jane Goodall. She says when she looks at a specific type of meat from a specific type of place it came from, she'll either look at it and see a pollution and misery, a deficit to our environment, or she'll look at it as this piece of meat she's looking at has been treated well. And it has been properly raised, no hormones, no anything like that. So, in her, So when you look at this wine, not only do you see a good bottle of wine, but that what you're putting your money into and what you're investing in when it comes to something that you're drinking or indulging in after a meal, before a meal, or just all alone, you know that you're investing in something that is not affecting the environment in a negative way.
Right.
It makes you feel a little bit better.
Because you're going to make an impact that's either positive or negative.
Yeah, that's correct. So when you look at this bottle of wine, you know, that's how I look at it. Anybody can look at it any way that they want. Yeah.
With a positive impact on the environment, practices in the wine industry, standards that are extremely high, and it's something I would promote to taste just for that reason.
Yeah.
Because you're buying something that these people really care about what they are doing with their practices, like how they affect the people, the environment around them, and those are the kind of people that you want to support, that you want to,
of course, you
want to learn from, you want to enjoy what they make, you know, the people that are behind it, you get to know. So that's the kind of thoughts that come to my head when I think about what Castara Winery has done.
So that's our viewpoint on Castara Winery and the Cobble Creek Organic.
I just wanted to highlight the other vineyards that they have.
Okay.
Because they are estate grown vineyards, all of them. So that means a single estate vineyard, everything's done only on their...
It's all on site.
On site, yeah. So they have Whale Rock Vineyard, Stones Throw Vineyard, Pine Hawk, Jackknife, Jack Creek, Hog Haven, Double Black, Dos Vinas, Blind Faith Vineyard, Bethel Road Vineyard, Adobe Vineyard, and Cobble Creek Vineyard. And from I know the Adobe Vineyards, I haven't tried them, but they are a more expensive line. They make Cabernet and Cabernet blends, and you usually find them in the Cabernet section.
Well, they have to make money.
So that would be more of their higher. I'm not sure about the other one, but I know for a fact that that's one of
the Adobe blends.
The Adobe Vineyard is their more higher end wines. So they do have higher end wines, and then they have mostly economical, great tasting wines.
Yeah, they do.
That taste higher than above average. So.
Again, guys, a double black Zin. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be your go-to.
It is so good.
If you love Zinfandel, that's an impressive...
Yeah.
Like your midday or midweek or your go-to wine to have on hand.
Yeah.
Like always have it around.
Yeah.
Like a case of it. Like it's just inexpensive. So.
Yeah. Yeah. When I have a chance, I'll buy a 2 or 3 when I have a chance. Yeah.
Part of your when you go do your wine shopping.
Yeah. Yeah, like I did today.
Yes, we had a
little
wine splurge.
$60. I saved $60 a day. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, you did good.
I had a lot of coupons. Yeah, I've been saving up for that one. So, all right, guys. So this has been again our 20th episode. Wine from on the vine to the road tasted. Yay! In Jasmine's words. You got anything to add?
No, just I hope you can find it. Cobble Creek Vineyard our wines on Double Black are. I mean, I haven't seen them too much around any other stores besides one.
You can do probably at wine.com. There's a there's
go
wine.com.
to their website, Castaro Cellars.
Yeah.
And there's like you could send them messages to. There's little chat things that you can go on. They will answer you right away. You can ask them tell them where you're at locally, where you can find it. Because they're smaller.
Yeah.
Being a winery, they're not like a huge winery.
No,
but,
they're not.
You know, they produce a good amount, like a high number for being smaller, but they're still not mass produced. Yeah. Their Double Black is probably the biggest line you see. Yeah. But then again, I don't see it everywhere. So. No,
you don't. You're probably gonna find it only at your big wine stores, maybe
locally.
Your BMOs and your the other big wine company. Yeah.
I don't know if you'll find it at Costco.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen it. I don't think they go that direction. That's not where they want to go.
No, it's not. But Yeah, I saw some nice ones over at Costco. 91 and 90 point wines over at Costco.
Yeah.
But I haven't indulged in those yet.
I haven't seen the Castoro. I'll have to look, but I haven't seen the Castoro wines yet.
Yeah, I know the Wine to Podcast talked about them. They talked about the Kirkland wines. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I will. I'm going to see where they went with it. You know, maybe we're doing things wrong. I don't think we are.
No, we're not.
All right.
Wrong for saying that.
All right. All right, guys. Wine from on the vine to the road tasted. We really appreciate anybody who's listening. And episode 20.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
We'll see. Next time. Till next time.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.